I was there when the Secret Service agents were sitting at the big round table in front of the cash register at the back of the cellar downstairs, and they were there all night long. I was there that night, and I was there the next day after the assassination, and it was, of course, we thought we should have been closed, but, you know, yeah, it was...
I was there. I was there on that night when the Secret Service agents were there. And of course, I didn't know, I'd see guys that I suspected who they were, but a lot of people, a lot of our customers wore suits and would take their coats off, and they'd be there in a white shirt and a tie, or maybe no tie. And that night, I noticed an inordinate number of guys wearing white shirts, and I presumed a lot of them were Secret Service agents, but I didn't know who they were. Johnny Carroll told me they were there. Said, "Be on your best behavior. Secret Service agents in here tonight." But I didn't know who they were. All I know is that it was a hell of a party that didn't end until about 6 a.m. It was daylight when I walked out on the sidewalk and thought about President Kennedy speaking within the hour up at the Texas Hotel a couple of blocks away, and I was just too tired to stay. I went on home. Several of the Cellar personnel, though, walked up there and shook his hand in the line, I understand.
Later on, the Warren Commission started doing its reports. We were contacted by the Secret Service, and more or less they explained to us that Kennedy's death was due to just the act of a lone madman, and the Secret Service name has been blackened enough. And when you go to the Warren Commission, which you will be, is what they told us, that we would appreciate you wouldn't just mention that they were drinking Everclear, you know. And so Kirkwood said, "Sure." Well, so we just told them they were drinking grapefruit juice at the Secret Service request.
The night that President Kennedy came to Fort Worth, and a lot of people in that awful weekend when he was assassinated kind of overlooked the fact that he spent the night in Fort Worth. And something like 10,000 people had turned out at Carswell Air Force Base to see him. He just got this wonderful welcome. I was kind of upset because I hadn't been assigned to that story. It was a big story, but they told me, you know, your regular job is covering the police beat. The political people will cover this. So we kept the press club open late that night, so all of the members of the White House press corps could come. And you know, these were big names to us. We knew all these bylines, and these were kind of our heroes. And so once I got off work at 2 o'clock, I guess it was, Phil Record and I went over to the press club because we wanted to meet all these people, you know, Robert Pierpoint and all those kind of people, Tom Wicker of the New York Times. These were very well-known people, especially to people in journalism. So we get over there, and lo and behold, what we discover, they've all heard about the Cellar. They all want to go down to the Cellar. So Phil and I were sort of appointed to be the official guides, and we took them all down there, and everybody had a great time. And some of the Secret Service detail, they were all off duty, and they decided they wanted to go too. So they came along, and they were later really criticized for being up late and for drinking. I don't know if they were drinking or not. I've always said I didn't see any of them drinking anything down there, and maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But anyway, it was the dawn was breaking when the party finally broke up, and we all went home, which was why I was sound asleep the next day when my brother came in and woke me up and told me President Kennedy had been shot in Dallas. But it was an amazing night there. But I guess what really surprised us was the notoriety of the Cellar. By then, I mean, people in Washington, these big bylines in the Washington Press Corps, they get to Fort Worth, and what they all wanted to do was go to the Cellar. And so we took them down there.